I'm Marilyn Weston, and you're definitely getting it straight from a woman's perspective here on Zoomer Radio. And week to week, Darren Farwell of the Farwell Group joins us and really shares information on investing tax efficiently. So I'm looking forward to learning from you again today. Good morning, Darren.
Good morning, Marilyn. Well, over the course of the last month, I've been discussing a family estate planning meeting that I was part of on behalf of one of my clients, Linda Sprague. Linda became a widow a few years ago, and when the time was right, and by the way, my team, the Farwell Group, have some suggestions regarding, when the time is right. But, there are a lot of personal circumstances to consider in that decision. When the time is right to do certain things that one must do in the eventuality of becoming a widow. In fact, we've created a tool to help widows deal with what needs to be done when and what can wait. We call it your personal timeline. But back to Linda specifically. When the time was right, she updated her will and estate plan. And Linda did so with the help of Nathan. He's a wills and estate specialist on my team in conjunction with her lawyer. With her will and estate plan properly updated, Linda decided she wanted to discuss her plan openly with her 6 children. Now, that's not for every family, but it felt right for her, so in that circumstance, it's a good idea. Linda asked me to help communicate the plan to her kids in a family meeting. And if you remember, Marilyn, a few weeks ago, we talked about how communication is one of the 5 ingredients of a tax-effective, efficient estate plan, at least in my professional opinion. The 5 ingredients I recommended are teamwork. You don't know what you don't know, so get some experts on your side. Tax. It's not what you leave as a legacy. It's what they get to keep after tax. So focus on tax minimizing strategies. Details, as always, the devil's in the details, so cross your T's and dot your I's because small mistakes can have big consequences. One that we're talking about today, communication. Share your plan when you feel you can and let others know about where your assets and passwords are, and update every 3 to 5 years or as life changes. The meeting with Linda and her children went well. Of course, she had discussed many of the details with her kids ahead of time and over the last month or so. I reviewed 5 tips that came from Linda's planning, like gifting money early, the gradual inheritance concept for beneficiaries, minimizing probate tax, and naming a corporate co-executor. But before leaving Linda and the Sprague family behind, I'd like to share another tax-effective strategy Linda decided on. Linda is 76 years old, so each year she must make a minimum RIF withdrawal. She has to take money out of her registered income fund. It's not a bad thing. The fact that she has to take money out is still well worth that she contributed the money over the years because all that money grew tax-free. But the fact is, Linda doesn't need the money to support her lifestyle. She's very comfortable without it. Yet, she has to withdraw about $62,000 a year and, of course, pay tax on it. That's about $31,000 per year. So here's the happy story. Instead of that money going into her general investment account, which she doesn't need and won't be used until it's passed to her beneficiaries, instead of the money going into the general tax revenue of the CRA, Linda decided to open an easy, low-cost private foundation. Here is how this happy story works. Linda opened a private foundation through our program, Aqueduct. It costs nothing to set up. She contributes all of her $62,000 per year RIF withdrawal to the foundation, and Linda gets a charitable donation receipt for her whole withdrawal amount. And this virtually eliminates any tax on the withdrawal. And Linda and her kids can decide which charity they want the annual distribution to go to. They can change their minds over time, too. It's not you choose once and you have to stick with it. You can decide year after year which charities you'd like the money to go to. So as she does contribute her RIF money to this private foundation each year, the amount will be significant. So, of course, the individual charities her and her kids select will be very happy. The distribution is set at 3% a year. So instead of going into the general government coffers, Linda can direct specifically where her donation money will go. So it's a win for Linda. I mean, she wasn't using the money anyway. She can feel good about giving it to a charity, and in fact, they're contributing it to a charity, one of the cancer organizations, and her husband had passed away in part as a result of cancer. It's a win for the charity, obviously. They're getting the money they need. And in a way, it's a win for the government, because these are all organizations that the government supports us to give money to and encourages us to support. So for those listeners who are getting RIF withdrawals they aren't using, consider being tax smart. Consider contributing your RIF money to your favorite causes through your own easy, low-cost private foundation.
So you mentioned Linda had a personal timeline document that you can provide. So if someone is listening and they're a widow or widower and they're interested in finding out more about what they need to do, can they request that from you, Darren? Will you provide it?
Yes, absolutely. We can send a copy by hard mail. We can send an email copy as well, whichever works best for you.
And if someone wants to reach you and just talk to you about how to make their estate a tax-efficient one, how do we reach you?
416-863-7501.
416-863-7501. The Farwell group is on Facebook. And basically, if anyone wants the document, personal timeline list, to find out what the schedule can be, once they're ready to invest and look at what they've got, they can just call and request it.
And not only that, Marilyn, if people would like to learn a little bit more about contributing to such a kind of low-cost private foundation that I was discussing with Linda, also call that number. I'd be happy to talk about that.
So you don't know what you don't know, and Darren Farwell can definitely educate you when it comes to saving taxes and planning your estate. All you have to do is call 416-863-7501. Thank you, Darren. I look forward to learning more next week.
Look forward to talking to you next week, Marilyn.